One of my very, very first sales calls, I had a feeling that I'm prepared, I will handle this call. And I thought that I had a solution. I had a solution to everything, I had a magical, tool. And it was a script. It was a sales script. Why? Why I thought that it's a magical tool? Because I thought that I could just handle any objections. I know what to say. I know what to ask. I have literally everything that I need. Literally everything is prepared. But then, on a sales call, I hopped on a sales call, and I thought that everything is, again, I know what to ask, but then suddenly the prospect asked me something that wasn't in the script. And then now, basically, when I was having this call, I was thinking, what should I say? What should I ask? I don't have this in my script. And then I just froze. I didn't know what to say. Of course I said something, but it wasn't real. It was just artificial. Why? Because I was following the script. And every single prospect on your sales calls, they know that you are using a script, even though maybe you are not reading anything, but they know that you're following the script. And in today's video, we're gonna go over why sales scripts must be burned. Yeah, why you don't need a sales script, and why sales scripts literally, preventing you from closing the deals. So, before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Arslan, and I'm the founder of Socrates Sales. And the last few years, I closed multi 4 and 5 figure deals internationally without using any sales scripts, and helped hundreds of business owners with high ticket offers to do the same just by using the Socratic sales system. Just by understanding how humans work, how their brain says yes, and why. And what's the science? Why scripts fail at the brain level? Now, very simply explained, very simply, we have 3 parts of our brain. We have the reptilian brain, we have the limbic system, and we have the neocortex. So let me show you. So the reptilian brain is responsible for our animal reactions. So you could say, for example, it's also connected to fight or flight and freeze. So we could say the reptilian brain is the fight, flight, and freeze in our, for example, automatic responses. Let's say we are breathing, but we're not actively breathing, or anything that happens in our body automatically. That's the reptilian brain. Then we have the limbic system, and this part that is super important, the amygdala, which is here. So the limbic system is the emotional brain. It is responsible for our emotional reactions or emotional decisions. And most of the decisions, 90% of the decisions are, everything is being, I would say 100% of our decisions are made in the limbic system first. Then it's gonna be justified by the neocortex, our smart brain. Sometimes it doesn't even reach the neocortex. Can you imagine? Even small percentage of the information goes through the neocortex. Think about this way. Remember something happened and you were emotional and you made this decision emotionally. And after a day, after a while, you regret about it. Why? Because almost 99% or even 100% of the decision was made by the limbic system. We allowed the limbic system to make a decision for ourselves, and then we're trying to justify it why it was a good decision. Sometimes, we bought something and then we regret about it, or not even regret about it. We're just justifying that, okay, I bought it because of this and this and this. It's actually good because of different reasons. Yeah. So, and the point is, when you're following a script, when you have a sales script, prospects feel that, they know that, everyone knows that. It's just, you can feel that. It's just the aura of the person, just aura of the salesperson. Yeah. And when they know that, okay, this is another sales guy who is trying to sell me something, and that's why he's asking these scripted questions. It's so weird, it's not natural. And of course, they'll think like, they will be resistant to your ideas or to your questions. So what does it mean is the amygdala, that's called the amygdala hijack. So their amygdala will tell their brain that, okay, another salesperson, and the guard, literally, they start to resist you. They start to resist your ideas. They start to resist your questions, because it is dangerous for the brain. Yeah, in some terms, because you're just trying to sell something, you're not genuine, and you're not our friend. Yeah, so the brain says. So when the prospect senses an agenda, there's an agenda, okay, and agenda is pretty much, it's a system. Yeah, it's a system that has it has the instructions from the beginning to the end. Yeah. And when the prospect senses an agenda, it means that, okay, every single question, every single part is created for a specific destination, and destination is the close. You want to close the deal. Yeah. And they feel that because the sales script was created for the purpose of closing a deal. Now you may think, okay, of course I want to close a deal. Obviously. But the point is, when you have this in mind that, oh, I have to close the deal, then you are attached to this destination. You're attached to the outcome. And people feel when you're desperate for something. And we want to be detached from the outcome. We want to be detached from the close. We don't care like whether we close the deal or not. We're just trying to understand. We're trying to be as curious as possible and understand their business, their situation, their problems, their pains, their desires. And if we can help, we'll help. If not, that's okay. And if we don't close the deal, okay, that's fine. So we're just trying to help, understand, and just conduct the sales call as professional as you can. That's it. You don't care about the outcome. And that's the difference. Now, we're going to discuss the 5 scientific reasons why scripts fail. Reason 1, scripts trigger psychological reactance. What does it mean? So there's a term, psychological reactance. It was coined by the psychologist Jack Brem in 1966. And the point is, people hate when you tell them or you are trying to tell them what they should do. Yeah, you know that. Everyone knows that. When someone is trying to tell us, oh, we're doing this wrong, we're doing this, you should do this, you should do that instead. Yeah? The guard goes up and we are just super resistant, yeah, to the new ideas. And when you're using a script, you have again a predetermined path toward a predetermined outcome. And every single sales script, again, has an agenda, and the agenda leads to the close. So every single question that you're going to be asking is pretty much designed to lead them or to tell them that they have to make a decision, that they have to make XYZ decision that is in your favor. So simply explained, if the sales script will be leading them towards a close, right? And they will feel that. So it means that it has specific instructions, specific steps that will kind of force them, or they try to force them, or try to convince them that this is a good solution and they have to make a decision. They have to take action because of this, because it's right, because what we're saying is right, because our questions are, because our solution is what they need. Yeah. And what would you think, yeah, if you would be in their shoes? Of course you would be resistant. It's just, you don't want this the salesperson to tell you what you have to do or what is right or wrong. Because every single person has an ego. Now, reason number 2. Scripts prevent from active listening. Oh my gosh, this is so important. This is actually the most important reason, yeah? Our brain can't focus on 2, 3, or 4 things at the same time simultaneously. It is not possible. We may think that we're being productive and we're being multi-productive, multifunctional. But actually, scientifically, our brain just change the focus every single time. So if you think that, for example, let's say you are listening to the podcast and you're doing something, or you are building. Let's say you're playing chess and listening to a podcast. Chess, of course. No, this is not a good example in this case, but let's say you are playing tennis and you are listening to a podcast. Or very simple example. You're washing the dishes and you are listening to podcast again. Now, you may think that you're doing 2 things at the same time. Yes, you are, and we can, yes. But the focus will just move back and forth. So it will focus first on the podcast, maybe for 5 seconds, then it will focus on the washing part. So it's just, you can't do 2 tasks at the same level of the same quality level. Yeah? So the quality will be worse either in the first case or in the second case or in the third task, whatever you do. Now, the point is, there's a cognitive load. Yeah? Cognitive load it is basically a term from Daniel Kahneman, yeah, the Nobel Prize winner. He wrote a book, Thinking Fast and Slow. And there are three types of cognitive load. We have intrinsic cognitive load, we have German, we have extraneous. Yeah. Now, when our brain has the script, we are focused on this script. You may think that, okay, you're not reading the script, but the brain is subconsciously trying to memorize the lines, memorize the questions. So can you imagine, example, yeah? Let's say even this YouTube video, yeah? I would memorize everything that I say, or I just literally trying to be myself and just trying to provide as much value as I can. And I didn't memorize anything. If I would memorize it, it would be super obvious and I wouldn't be focused on my brain wouldn't be focused, my brain wouldn't be present in this case. Yeah, I would just follow the specific instructions, but something comes to my mind and I just share right now. That's the difference. Now, as a salesperson, yeah, as a business owner, when we're selling something, the only leverage that we have is the information. Now, the only leverage that we have, again, is the information. And we're gonna get a lot of new information from our prospects because this is exactly what we need from them. This is what we need. And we have to be focused to get this information, to extract this information. Also, we have to analyze their like the archetype, the person that we're talking to. We have to analyze the body language at the same time. And we have to also, be aware of ourselves, of our emotions, of our body language at the same time. So to listen, to actively listen to someone, like there's a difference, listening and active listening. Listen, everyone can listen, and people think that they're listening. But active listening is really it's another level. It's very deep, and you're listening to every single word. You're listening to the tonality, and you're trying to understand this. You're trying to understand the reasoning behind their words. You're trying to very, very deep understanding. It's a huge difference, and it's a skill. It's not something that you can do. It's literally listening. Can you imagine actively listening for 30 minutes, for an hour? Yeah, just literally listening without distracting yourself. And people nowadays can't. It's very hard, because especially with the short form content, where the attention span is needed. It's like 5 seconds, 10 seconds is the only thing that is needed, to listen to something. But we're gonna have this cognitive load, so we have to be super focused. Yeah, plus obviously distractions as well, and processing of the new information by integrating with the previous learning. What is it? What does it mean? It's actually the objection handling part and the presentation part, because on the sales call, we have simply discovery, presentation, and negotiations. Yeah? Presentation and discovery. So we're using this information, the previous information, in the presentation part and in negotiations part. And it actually, remembering every single word, everything that they said, and even their vocabulary, you're using literally their words. It also takes the cognitive power to do that. Yeah. You literally have to remember everything that they said in the discovery. Everything, then you're using that in the presentation, and then you're combining this information with the presentation, and then again you're using this information from discovery and presentation in negotiations. Yeah. So whatever the prospect said, follow it naturally, curiously, genuinely. Be curious as a child, literally. So curious as we were, when we were children. We didn't have any agenda. We didn't have any expectations. We just wanted to learn for the sake of learning. Be the same. Learn for the sake of learning, not for the sake of getting the cash or getting the clothes. You will get the cash. It's just a logical consequence. Reason 3. Scripts create outcome dependence. Again, you genuinely don't need them to say yes. That's the philosophy that you should have. That's the sales philosophy. You are not attached, you are detached from the outcome. The only thing that you know that is within your control is your competence. And the only thing that they need is your competence. If they see that you're competent, they will trust your company. They will trust whatever you are selling because you represent your company. You represent the service. They don't care how many features they have. They don't care whatever, how many case studies or testimonials you have. The competence, the perception of you. How do they perceive you? You could have like thousands of testimonials, thousands of case studies, but on a sales call, if they feel that you are not competent enough to help them, you're not confident enough to help them, why should they work with you? Yeah. Reason 4, scripts ignore the individual. Every single person is different. Every single person is different. Now imagine you have a sales script. It's the same sales script every single time. You're asking the same questions every single time with every single person. Now imagine some dating expert is telling you on a date, you should ask this, you should ask that, you should ask about this. And you're going to ask the same questions with every single partner or whoever, girl or with a woman or a man, doesn't matter. You're going to ask the same questions every single time. Now ask yourself, do you think it's going to work out? With every single person asking the same, having this, framework? Of course not. Every single person is different. You have to adapt like water. That's the most important. That's exactly what you need to close more deals. It's just being present and being adaptable. Because the Charles Darwin said, it's not the strongest species, it's not the smartest species that survive, but those who can adapt. Be formless like water. Yeah. Now, according to Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, literally after Sigmund Freud, the father of modern psychology, according to Carl Jung, we have 4 archetypes, but the Jung's archetypes are within us. So we have the self, we have the shadow, we have the animus, and we have the persona. The 4 archetypes that are within ourselves. Now, animus is literally the man, the male and female energy. And men have some female energy, some parts of the female energy, and women have some parts of the male energy. Now, I'm going to explain. It's very simple right now and focus on the sales part. Yeah. So the shadow is literally just literally as it is. It's just the dark part of ourselves, and every single person has their own shadow. Now the self is being yourself, being authentic, being the whole, as they're saying. And the persona is the mask that we're wearing. Yeah, we're wearing the masks. With every single person, we're different. So you could say that we're adapting by wearing a mask with different people. Now, again, think about it. You may think, oh, I'm like, I don't want to wear the mask. I just want to be myself. Yes, you want to be yourself. You want to be authentic. But the point is, when we're with different people, we're different. Think about it. When we're with, let's say, we're talking with children, with a child, we're different. We're talking with our grandma, we're different. We're talking with our friends, we're different. Think about it. Now, we're wearing different masks. Why? Why we're not just being ourselves with everyone? Again, we're adapting because these people are different and they need different way of communication. Yeah. Now the point is the shadow, the persona. First of all, in the shadow, every single prospect has different desires, different pain points, different maybe different, they have doubts about something, or they have different, again, desires, different pains, different problems. It's all within their shadow. Now their shadow is literally, we have to get to this shadow. In order to get to this shadow, we have to ask deeper questions and just being very present and being curious about them, yeah, and about their business. Now that's a very deep topic, but the modern interpretation of the Jung's archetypes consists of 12 archetypes. Yeah. Now these are different people personalities. These 4 archetypes are within one personality. So every single personality has persona, self, shadow, anima, animus. Now you're adapting to every single archetype, different archetypes. Yeah. Now let's say the dominant type. You see that this is a dominant prospect. Now you have to be, you just gotta get to the point without bullshitting in anything. Let's say, for example, the ruler is the dominant type. Yeah. Now you see the leadership, prosperity, etc. Yeah. Now we have analytical type, wants data and evidence. Okay, you have to give more facts, more data, more features. Yeah. But you don't want to overwhelm any prospect with features. But this type needs more information, wants to get more details about the service itself. Yeah. So the analytical type would be, in this case, let's say sage. Yeah, wisdom, intelligence. And the social type wants connection first. So being a little bit more friendly, maybe a little bit funny. Yeah. The lover, this case, relationship, friendship. Yeah. And the peaceful type wants safety and no pressure. So without pressuring, without being super, like we don't want to be salesy anyways, but not pushing anything, yeah, too far. Sometimes you need to push, but with the peaceful type, like the caregiver, you don't want to push anything. You don't want to, you don't want to create this amygdala hijack. Yeah, you don't want to make them emotional. You don't want to activate this fight or flight response. But it is with everyone, but with them especially, no pressure. Yeah. So different people, different archetypes, and we have to adapt every single time. That's so important. Even it doesn't matter in sales call or just in personal life. It is so crucial. It's just, yeah, it's just absolutely the first thing that you should think about. Yeah, adapting. Another thing that I want to mention is, again, if you think about, okay, I want to be authentic. You want to be authentic, and I want to be myself with every single person. Now the idea is you are yourself with every single person because you have the principles. Your principles stay the same. They are the same. But the way you adapt, the way you communicate your principles, or the way how you communicate with them, will be always different. Yeah, because people misunderstand this concept. They think that, okay, it's being fake, it's being inauthentic if I'm always different. No, your principles, the core principles, are the same with every single archetype. But the way how you communicate with them, the way how you present these principles will be different. Yeah, the information will be different. So that's very important thing to keep in mind. Yeah, you are being yourself. That's the authenticity. Authenticity is not being the same with every single person. Authenticity is having the same principles, but actually being professional and adapting depending on the person. Yeah, because there's a book also that's called Surrounded by Idiots. Yeah, and he's also a psychologist from Sweden, I believe, and he said that, I mean, there are 4 types of people pretty much, yeah, and 4 types of behavior. And why is it called Surrounded by Idiots? Because we think that they're idiots because they don't understand us, or we don't understand them, but it's actually different archetypes, and we gotta adapt. Yeah, because we are idiots for someone else. It's just because they don't understand us or we don't understand them. But actually, it's just different people. Okay, now reason 5, scripts make you worse over time. The point is, at the beginning, when you had, let's say, 10, 20, 30, or even 100 sales calls, you are still at the beginning stage. Yeah, you should have at least, I would say, 500 sales calls, like real sales calls, on video sales calls, not like cold calls, the sales calls, at least like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes duration. Yeah, and at the beginning you can get better at the script, and your prospects will somehow, you'll get some results. Yeah, because at the beginning you may think that, okay, it's better to be scripted than just, completely being, clueless on what to say, what to ask, how to do anything. But you will never get better at sales. I think I had my very, very first sales calls, like 5, I would say first 10, 15 or 20. I'd say around 15. Yeah, I was trying to use the script, and I was asking myself, what's wrong? Why they're not, like, why I'm not closing any deals? And the response is so cold. They're so cold to me, and then I thought, okay, let's just freestyle. Let's just be yourself. Just be yourself. Just talk to them, ask the questions. And at the beginning, I didn't know really what to ask, and I was really nervous, and it wasn't perfect, of course. It just was, it was a disaster because I didn't have a script. Can you imagine? It's just like, go and hunt, go and do whatever you want without any map, without any instructions. Yeah, but this jungle made me, like, literally, I got better at sales. This jungle taught me sales. Because of this pressure, because of this stress, because all of this, now I can sell without having any scripts. I can sell whatever. I don't need any sales scripts. I will just be present and I'll find what to ask. I will find the questions to ask. I will find the pain points. That's the mastery. That's the master that you wanna possess, yeah, as a business owner. If you're selling high ticket offers, being present without using any scripts, being at the same wave with the prospect, connecting with them, building this rapport. You will never build rapport with scripts, never. Even if you're not using any scripts. The more prepared you are, the less natural it is. Yeah, of course, sometimes you have to prepare. There are always caveats, yeah, but most of the time, 90% of the sales calls, or like 90, let's say we have a sales call, yeah? Let me just visually show it. So let's say sales call is 100%, yeah? And only 10% of the sales call requires some kind of preparation, like, for example, and I'm not talking about researching the prospect. I'm talking about, I mean, of course, if you have any information, you could research a little bit, but you don't have to. But some kind of preparation, for example, in terms of the market. You have to know the market you're in, of course. You have to do your research. You have to understand the service that you're providing, of course. So this kind of stuff, yeah? But otherwise, everything is just being present and listening, actively listening. That's it. Because the script prevents you from developing the skill of finding the right words yourself and the right questions yourself. Questions, right questions. Because scripts don't have the right questions. They have the scripted questions. And that's the huge difference. It's like having a calculator, you know? Okay, you have a calculator and you're safe. You can calculate anything. But when you don't have the calculator anymore, basically you didn't train your ability to think mathematically without the calculator. Now it's getting a little bit, it's more difficult, right? If you are not used to calculate everything without a calculator. Yeah, it's a little bit different, a little bit. But when you're always calculating and you don't rely on the calculator, of course, if the numbers are, we have like hundreds, 200, thousands of different calculations, of course, yeah. But just to simply provide an analogy, yeah. If you're not relying on the calculator, you can do simple math, even not simple, let's say medium level math. You don't need a calculator. You can do everything. You can do anything yourself. The same thing. But when you don't have it, now you're a little bit stressed and you are more dependent. If you think that, okay, I need a calculator to do this simple math. Now, because the whole time you were dependent on this calculator, you get used to it. That's the whole problem. Yeah. You get used to the script, and the scripts make you worse over time, like the calculator. Yeah. Now you're just, it's like, let's say you are in school. Every time we're calculating anything, we're trying to, we're always calculating, but we are not using the calculator most of the time. Yeah. But when you stop doing that, your brain kind of gets comfortable. The same thing with the sales scripts. Your brain gets comfortable. That's the whole point. Now, what Socrates knew that the sales industry doesn't is myotics. Yeah, I know it's not my word. Yeah, ask Socrates. It is literally the Socratic method. It's pretty much what he did. Again, Socrates never convinced anyone of anything. Yeah, he just literally asked the questions, and they were convinced without being convinced, without feeling convinced. And they literally followed his advice. He literally followed his ideas. He didn't argue with them. He didn't try to convince anything. Convince, And what happens on the sales calls? People try to convince. They try to convince, they try to sell. We're not trying to sell, we're trying to understand the person. That's it. We're trying to understand the business by asking the right questions. In order to understand the business and ask the right questions, you have to actively listen. And to handle objections, you have to actively listen and use the information as a leverage, and then handle objections, not by saying, oh, if they say I need to think about it, I should say this. If they say I need to talk to my wife, I should say this. No, it doesn't work. Probably you've already tried handling objections by the script and getting this objection handling phrases or lines from online, and didn't work. Yeah. Now this is the literally the mastery. And he said, I don't give birth to ideas, I help others give birth to their own. That's the golden rule. Don't give birth to ideas, help others give birth to their own. Yeah, let them sell to themselves. Let them convince themselves. That's it. Let them do it themselves. Let them decide themselves, as we discussed previously. You don't need any agenda. Yeah, let them create their own agenda. And on that note, these are the 5 reasons, yeah, that prevent you from closing more deals. Yeah, implement right now, be aware of these reasons, and start being Socrates. Just become Socrates, be formless. This is Socratic Sales. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.